wasting time, let me introduce our today's guest, Mr. Akhil Binani. He's currently working as a software engineer at Google. He also did his internship at Amazon in night, so he hold international offer from Amazon, and he is graduated from the Institute of Technology, Dhanbad. And apart from this, like he's a very great coder, so you all might hear seeing on this screen also, like he's having getting to 2200 plus on code forces. So Akhil, welcome to our.
Thank you.
Okay. So the first question is simple, like mostly people would have in the how did you started with programming? Like what initial challenges you faced? Like, let me deep dive into the simple coding questions. So how will you started with the coding? Like back in
So
20.
how I started is like in my first year. So in the first semester, I had C as the course. So basically, during the class, I started, and then I heard about HackerRank. So my senior told me. So in the first year, I mainly like, did for just the course and did something on HackerRank, nothing else. In the summer of the first year, I like heard about Code Chef and started giving long challenges on Code Chef mainly. Sometimes short contests also, but mostly long challenge. So that's how I
Okay.
started. But regarding the you can say serious competitive programming, I started in my fourth semester. Like
Okay.
from the beginning of the fourth semester, I started like giving contests on Code Forces and Code Chef regularly, and that's when I started practicing also.
So like you just did simple hacker rank in your first year,
Yeah,
and then in a second, like when you got summer of second year, basically when your second year was about to start, then you heard about this competitive coding platforms, and then you start giving try on them, right?
yeah, yeah,
So basically you did started after the your second like first semester of second year was end, and
yeah,
second semester was about to start.
yeah.
So, so since you are in a fourth semester, and you might also heard this question many times, like students might feel that they are lagging in time, they are a bit late. They
Yeah.
have to start about in first year to reach at least that level you are 2200 plus. Since like before going to the next question, I would like to ask like when did you become candidate master?
As far as I remember, somewhere in the end of my second year, like in the summers, I remember in the end of second year.
So like you started in first semester, and in a span of 6 months you become candidate master.
It's not completely true, you can say, because side by side, I was always giving Code Chef contest like long challenges, and I would like to say long challenges help at the beginning definitely a lot, because like in initial time, what anyone lacks is mainly implementation, how to implement your idea, and long challenges definitely help in that.
Yes,
So
yes, right.
not actually 6 months, but yeah, when I was focused, yeah, for 6 months.
Okay. When you started, also you might faces some problems because I think doing initial phases when you are not like aware of all the concepts, and also like you also might face some challenges.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So well, I guess one of the basic thing everyone like at the beginning is thinking when should you start learning algorithms and when to like, basically learn and read and when to practice, like how to balance these things out. So I talk to my seniors and what they advise me is just keep giving contests, keep practicing. If you find some new topic, only then learn it. If you don't like, what I feel many people do wrong is that they start like let's say learning topics like graph, but they are not even good in implementation, and so basically they lack in the basics question. So don't go for things like graph, dynamic programming, maybe some advanced data structure. Don't do that. Just start working on the basics. If you see that yeah you are now able to get to the questions which requires you to learn graph or maybe any other topic, only then go for it. So that way you will basically you can see gradual growth, not like just keep studying and studying, and then you will be frustrated that why I'm not able to solve a question. This is one of the things I guess how everyone should look out for. Don't like go into deep into just reading about things.
Similar question I get many times from my juniors that they ask me like whether to learn algorithms first, learn data structure first,
Yeah,
and then some solve some DSA problem and then start CP, or like just doing giving contest regularly and try to learn things simultaneously, like as
Yeah.
you told. So like, which is the better way you feel?
What I feel is that just start like initially just simple things is learn any basic language. Just learn for loop, if else, arrays, strings, basic of strings. That's it. Vectors or maybe, and then just start doing questions. And like let's talk about code forces. In code forces, like div to A and div to B mostly can be solved with just simple like array and vectors. You don't need any data structure for that. So just don't do that. Side by side for C++, I would say definitely go learn STL because set, maps, and all these help definitely. And then like when you move to div to C, what I mean by move is that you are able to easily solve div to A and B in the context, and then you move to that level. Then you might need some binary search, number theory. So then learn about it. And just like simply code forces has a lot of articles. Like where to learn, simply search on code forces. Or Google search, you will find CP algorithms. There are many good resources for that.
Yes, yes. So, like, I also think that this is the better way. Like, started giving contest, and if facing some challenges, then try to explore things. And I think getting the answers is the best way.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, you also are doing like you did internship at Amazon, and you
Yeah.
hold an international offer. And I think holding an international offer is itself a big thing. And after that, you gave an interview in Google, and like working as a software engineer at Google.
Yeah.
uh, if you tell me about your interview experience in Amazon and like your interview experience at Google, we help you in these interviews. So if you explain us in a brief, then that would
Yeah, so like first let me talk about my Amazon interviews. I had two interviews. Like before that, there was a coding round, online assessment. So that so definitely CP helps in the online assessment. Then I had two interviews. Both both of the interviews asked me one question each, and there were some HR type questions, and both of them were like you can say. For I remember one was of graph, not like anything complex, simple graph, and the other was a implementation based question, something greedy on the strings. That's what I
okay.
remember. So if you are like good at CP, you will be able to first thing easily understand what is the question is asking you to do. Like one of the major thing people lack in interviews is they don't understand the real question. They let's say they understood it misproperly, and then the half of the time they will be thinking on the wrong solution or something. So first thing that how to basically understand the problem. Then next is what are the possible approach. So GCP helps you in that because during a contest you are supposed to do number of questions in a fixed amount of time, right? So this helps you in like thinking fast, how to think in constrained time. And interviews are also similar to that. Like you have a 40-45 minute interview and you have to solve one problem. Just thinking like on the fly what could be done. And that's the thing. That's how CP helps. And then in my Google interviews, I remember I had five interviews, four of a tech, and one was on HR kind of interview. So all of
Okay.
those were tech round were around algorithms only. I wasn't asked anything about my projects or anything. Like in the Amazon interview, they did ask me about my project, but Google doesn't look at them. Those are just
Oh,
text algorithm questions, and mostly were like you can say similar to code forces. Like what you saw in code forces, those it was similar questions. Like topics like
okay,
graph,
okay,
dynamic programming, binary search, number theory, implementation, that kind of problems.
okay.
So
Like,
definitely PT will help them. Yeah, one of
okay,
the question in chat, how much oops is important in Java? Like for Java, Java is an object-oriented language, right? So just learn the basics. But I would
okay.
say no also.
For this question, finish question in end. So then you can ask. Like we have some modules, so we'll try to finish them, and then we'll take your question. So if anyone have questions, like I'll activate the Q&A. Ask your questions. We'll try to answer all the questions. Okay, like you showed that CP gives a brief idea, like how while in the interviews, while how will approach question. So my next question is that if some person like who haven't did a CP, like who is not a good competitive coder, but
Yeah,
solve let's say about 500, 600 lead code problems, medium and hard problems, like
yeah.
then like in your point of view, what like it would be like sufficient to crack companies like Google? I'm talking about because Amazon, I think
Definitely,
lead code is sufficient.
definitely. It's not about what platform you are going. Like even lead code has very good problems. It's just the type of problem might vary somewhat, but like solve anywhere. Just be consistent and solve problems. Don't just solve easy problems. That's the thing. Like don't focus on easy problems only. Then definitely you will face some problems. But if you are solving like medium problems on lead code, I guess that should be enough. Most of
Okay,
interviews questions are not that like tough, you can say. The only issue is that the pressure gets to you, so you might not be able to think a simple thing.
okay. Okay. So like the CP and doing problems. Next, like to ask, like many students come to me, and also I heard on LinkedIn like people start doing CP, and they like have not they have some bad contest, like not able to solve a problem or B, and then they
Yeah.
stop. They say that I think I'm not meant for CP and such kind of things. So like how to tackle this kinds of situation? I think you also might got to through the situation
Like
when you
I can
started.
definitely agree to this. Like a few weeks back, like I gave a contest, so and it was some, I guess it was goodbye 2021, I something like that. Div 1 plus Div 2 contest and code process. So I solved Div 2 A and I wasn't able to solve Div 2 B. So C, D, anything. Even I tried C, then I tried D. It was one of the bad contests and I lost a lot of rating. I guess somewhere around 200 or something. But that's okay. Like people should understand that you will have a bad contest once in a while. You might get like uh, a lot of negative rating, but it doesn't matter. If you are doing good, you will gain in the next contest definitely. So don't
Okay,
think about how much you lost rating or gain rating. Even gaining, like say, sometimes you have a good contest because the problem which was supposed to be, let's say, due to E or F was something that you have like done previously. So you knew how to do it. Something similar you have done, and you work they gain a lot of rating. That also doesn't mean that you have improved that much. It maybe you are just a lucky contest. What matters is over a period of time, what is your average performance. Don't just look for one contest. It can be good or bad, anything.
yes. Like extend what happens like people solve questions like initially they what I heard when I asked questions about in my college student that what is your point of why you started CP, like what do you think? So like the basic, I think most of the student has having good rating would help in like job interviews, like in resume shortlisting. So like what mindset should person have while doing CP? Like it's just a rating or interest or both, like what kind of, what do you think
You
about
should
it?
you shouldn't look at rating. Like there are many my friends are there who are like stuck at a same rating for more than years. They're still doing it because they enjoy it. And like people who got high rating but couldn't crack interviews. These are not directly correlated. And also resume shortlisting, I guess this is more of a myth that having a high rating will get your resume shortlisted. No, it doesn't work like that. People, definitely it will help, but it's not just how much rating do you have. It's also about how much time you have devoted. If you say someone who is lower rated than you but has done like, you can say devoted more time than you have done for just few months and he's been doing for years, he will definitely be preferred because that shows consistency and that shows dedication. It's not just about how good you are, how dedicated you are also helps. That's why like doing CP is should be about fun only. If you are interested in it, then only do. Otherwise, for interviews, just go and do lead code. It will be enough. Definitely.
Yes. So like in a similar manner, I asked some people and they did just a lead code and they told that we are doing CP. So like in your point of view, how DSA is different from CP?
It's not different. It's not different. Just that in CP, the same problem will be, you can say, somewhat twisted, and there will be two, three different DSA problem combined together. So it's not actually different. It's just more about like in CP, one of the main thing is understanding what the real problem is, or breaking down the problem in sub problems, and those sub problems will be a DSA problem.
Okay. So like this is like I wanted to ask about the DSA and CP. And then
Yeah.
the more trending question in my college, like not in my college, I think I heard on LinkedIn also and had some read some fights also about. like what to do is CP or development. I think you also got through these questions on social
I
media
would say
platforms.
just whatever like more fascinates you. Like I can like give examples of few of my friends. Like I never did development in my college because I was never interested. I did CP only. But there are few of my friends who did only development. They are also in good companies. It doesn't matter if you do it CP or development. You should be interested in it. If you're interested, then it will definitely help. Because people say that CP will help you in resume shortlisting. Yeah, I agree to that. But if I participate in hackathon, definitely I'll come last because I don't know. Now
Yes,
I'm
yes.
learning it during my job, but before that I didn't know. So I didn't participate in any hackathon also because I knew I don't have the enough knowledge to do it. But people in development, they participate in hackathons, and many of them get interns and placements through that also. It's just one of the way. CP or development, just do whatever you feel is good enough for you and you are interested.
Okay. You said that you haven't did development in your college level. So
Yeah.
have you faced any problem when you did your internship or now work doing a job as SD?
No,
What
no, definitely
was
not. Definitely not. Like I can say this by experience. In your internships and your like job also, you are given a lot of time to read about the problem, and that's where the mainly the thing is. You should know how to learn new things. It's not about if you have done development. Most of people think that doing, let's say, app development will help in their job. Let me tell you, most of the people don't actually do remotely related to app development because the actual job, the development is a very wide field. You might know something. Let's say you know how to work well in Java, but the team you are working in uses C++. So how? The only thing that helps is your experience, how to learn new things, how to relate to any previous problems. Development is also about creating new things, right, and learning on the fly. That's what. And CP is also the same thing, like applying the concept that you know how to break down a problem, how to read about it, how to search about it.
okay? Okay, got it. Means that CP helps building mindset to be part of that
Yes,
learning
yes,
process.
yes.
And okay, yeah, just to ask. And next thing is that okay, I'm doing as I asked you that people say that we are late. So you started in your second year most probably doing first year you did
Yeah.
yes on hacker. So what would be your advice if I talk about so first year students and then second year and then third year and who are in final year to start CP or to do DSA? Like what will you say in sequence manner for first year students?
Uh, someone asked what is CP. CP means competitive programming. I don't know. People don't know what this. So, how to start? It depends. Like, doesn't depend in which year you are. You just need to start solving problems, and then on the fly learn the concepts. Like, start giving contests. I would just recommend you go to code forces, give any contest, and then see how you performed. And if by that you will get an idea that what is the like, thing required for CP, what do you need to do, what do you need to learn, do you lack in a language concept or some data structure concept or something else, and you will see and just practice accordingly. Let's say if you give a contest, you're giving a lot of contest and you realize that you lack in binary search, then you have identified that, right? Just go to the problem set, apply the filter for binary search, and do problems related to binary search. That's all. It doesn't matter if you're in first year or final year. For interviews and all, it doesn't matter like you say that someone is doing for 4 years or someone is doing for just 1 year. It's just how dedicated you were, how well do you know the basic concept. Like
Okay,
I can say for sure, if you apply just brute force in your interviews, but you are able to explain your approach well, you know what you are doing, you will get selected. Doesn't matter if you don't know any deep concept, any specific algorithm. Just by brute force also you will get selected. No, interviews are not just about how well do you know a concept, it's more about how well do you communicate with the other person. Communication is the like one of the major things.
okay. But as you told that try to do solve problems, explore things if you first stuck and then read about the contest. But my counter question would be like, okay, if you are in first or second year, then you have a lot of time. You can do research, you can learn things. But suppose you enter into fourth year, or you already in a fourth year, or you in third year student, like who don't have much time to explore things. Like either he could like
Yeah,
try to learn things in a small, like in a ample amount, not having ample amount of understand the concept. So like
yeah.
how that person can cope up with things.
Like most of the people who are in first year, they are not that much dedicated also about CP. Like if they
Yes.
are doing CP also, they'll be like just you can say once a week giving a contest, solving few problems. But when you are in your final year, you know that you need to dedicate time. You need because you have less time, so you need to dedicate more time, and that will help. Like it will cope up. It's more about just being fluent in understanding the problems. How do you communicate? How do you like, it's a how do you think about a solution? Like how did you come up with a solution? If you are in an interview and you say this problem can be solved with DP, the follow-up question will definitely be why? Why DP? Why not anything else? And you will have to explain it. So it's not about the DP, it's about the explanation. How do you get to that solution? How do you eliminate other approaches? And that thing can be learned in a month also. Just learning about the concepts will take time. And the main part is communication. How do you think? How do you approach? Is your solution complete? A slow solution will work, but a wrong solution doesn't. It's a simple thing. So, and
Okay.
researching and all, you don't need to actually do much research. Like, just go and code forces. Like, say someone is starting for the first time and they know some language, Java, C++, anyone. Just start solving thousand rated problems on code forces. Keep doing them until you feel that yeah you are able to solve them in a good enough time. Move to 1100, then do the same. Move to 1200. It's just that the first year student will have more time, so maybe he's able to reach heights that you can't. But for cracking interviews, that would be enough. Just solving problems, having an experience. It's not about learning too much concepts and getting complicated.
Okay. So like you're trying to say that it doesn't matter in which year you are, like if
Yeah,
you try to learn, you can start learning and you get the concept. But the thing would be that the first year student would gain more because they have a lot of time, and
yeah,
the person who is in like fourth year or third year have less time. So he
yeah.
should have to compromise over the quantity, but he have to focus on quality, like what he's studying and should be studying well. And
Like for a fourth year, I would say always think of a problem. Let's say if you're asked in the interview, how will you explain this problem? Because that's one of the key things. How will you explain a certain problem? How will you like say what kind of approach are you going to apply? Why? Why is it good? Why is it not? Let's say if you apply just a brute force solution, always there are people who know just how to implement things, so they just apply brute force approach to everywhere. That also works. You just need to know that your solution is slow. If you know that your solution is slow but it is correct, it should be correct, it should cover all the cases, it works. It totally works.
okay, so that is like that was one of the major doubt which when I was asking questions people that they face, like when to start, is it late? So I think you answered that question pretty well. I think there's never ever late that you are late.
Yeah,
It's always
you're
of
never late. It's more or less that whenever you start, just be dedicated about it. Dedication matters
okay.
definitely.
Okay, so like next thing I would like to ask about your job, like how when you started. I think you are 2021 pass out, so I think it's
Yeah,
near about 7 months. Like
yeah,
you
6 months.
started full time. six
Yeah.
months you started full time. Like how was your experience in Google? If you'd like to share with us
So my
so far.
experience, like for the first month, we were just having a training. They call it GTA, Google Tech Immersion. So that is mostly about learning how Google works, how do they approach things, what are the tools they use. Because the tools any company use internally are not always what you will see on a public platform. So
Yes.
those differs, and how do you basically use the tools? How do you work in a team? And we were given like a team of 6 people and were supposed to create any project of our like, and the main goal was just to learn and be familiar with the tools. And then in the next month, we were like given a similar training, but team specific. That was our team training. So the first 2 months is mostly just about learning things, training, and it's not just like learning. It's also about getting familiar with how to work in a corporate world. What's the difference between working alone and working in a team? And then after the 2 months, I was given some basic bugs how to solve them, and then so on. So basically, you learn step by step. That's
Okay.
how like what my experience has been. And overall, it's a good work culture. People support each other a lot. You can ask anyone like randomly. You can ping anyone and ask them a question, and if they know, they will answer you. They don't even have to be from your team. Like you can ask someone from let's say Europe and ask them something which their team uses, and they will definitely answer you. People help each other.
Okay. And like so like we all aware of that how good work culture in Google has, because we get insights, videos, a lot of YouTube videos are there explaining
Yeah,
the things. Like you also did internship at Amazon Berlin. Uh,
yeah.
so if you could share their experience, like how it was that, because it was an international offer, so like it was
It
have
actually
some different.
doesn't differ much. Like people there also works in a similar way. It's just that yeah, most of them were from Europe only. So they were German or Spanish and someone from Russia and all. But the main thing like is work culture are similar. Like if you say any company has a set of like rules or way they work, they doesn't differ from country to country. It's more or less the same. It's just you can say more the hype of the international offer is more, but mostly the experience will be the same.
So like working in Amazon Hyderabad and Amazon Berlin would be like similar experience
Yeah,
to
or
a more extent.
it always depends just on your team. What kind of team do you have? What is their product? That's the only thing that will differ. The overall work experience will be similar.
Okay, okay. And the interview process is also quite similar to what
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is in
It
India.
it was exactly the same because I remember like on campus process and the Berlin process, it was same. There was no difference.
Okay. So like next thing I would like to ask, like since you also heard about FUNG, like people have students especially have the work fresh graduates great craze about to going in a FANG companies,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of good startups also. So like if the person is not getting FANG and he's getting startup, so in that situation, like whether he should try or is trying for FANG and or he should join and learn things
No,
and then try to
no,
switch. Like what
definitely
is your opinion
join.
on
Definitely join. I would say that most of people who are in college don't know like what is to work in a company. When you will get in a company, you will work for few months. Then you will realize that it doesn't really matter if you are in a FANG or any other company. It's not a difference. What matters is what is the work culture of that company. Startups also have good work culture. What kind of technology you are working on? Is it interesting enough or not? Are you getting well paid? Those are the things only that matters. Doesn't matter. Like the people say that FANG has a brand value. It's not really true. It's not really true. It's just what you can say college students have a myth.
it? Yes, yes. Fang has some different attitude and other companies had different. So that's why I asked this question.
Yeah,
Okay. So like I think I come up with my most of the questions which I had to ask. And let's try to ask some question from candidates who had mentioned. So
yeah. People, I see question. Can I do CP in Java? What challenge will I face? I don't think you will face any challenges. Like, you can definitely do CP in Java. Java is similar to C++ quite a lot. It's just small details will vary. Like let's say you want to use set in Java, there is also set in Java. If you want to use map in Java, there is a map in Java. You just need to search. It, it won't matter. They are also very good coders. Like one of the biggest coder of all time, Peter. He does like computer programming in Java only. You can look up to him.
like
They
yeah, adding to
Yeah.
like people here did ask like which programming language to be choose for C++, which is the best. So
There's no
that
best language, but yeah, Python I would say avoid because Python is slower than the Java and C++, and
yes.
that's where you might get it clearly even if your solution is correct and fast enough. So Python avoid. Other than that, Java and C++ both are good. Use any one of them. C++ just some has some extra libraries, and the main thing that you will see is that most of other coders use C++, so it will be easy for you to understand the code and maybe get learn something new. Because when you look up to others' code, you will find some small details that they do different than you. You can learn through that. One of the major thing that people miss during like practicing is that they don't look at other people code and just go to the editorial. Don't look at editorial. If you like solve a problem and if you are stuck on it, just leave it for a few days. Try it again. If you look at the editorial, definitely you will say that yeah, this is something easy. I can do it easily because you know the logic now. You have read it in the editorial. Try it. Other than that, just try to look at other people code. You maybe like see something, you open the code and you see binary search, just close it there and then think, okay, can I apply binary search here? Don't look at the complete logic. And also after solving a problem, look up to others code. What's the difference, like what they are doing better than you? Like I learned a lot of things, a lot of functions that I didn't knew before. I wrote 10, 12 lines of code and there were already a function for that. Like initially when I started in the first year, I didn't know that there's a sort function already, so I used to implement the sort every time, and then I realized, oh, it's not needed, you can just use the sort function. These things you can learn by looking at others code. It's good way.
Yes, like since you're talking about learning, one more frequent question is that when start learning, like either a lot of courses are there, boot camps are
Yeah,
there with this, so they are like a track that become this later or will teach, they will get the job. Such kind of things are there. So like students focus on those courses or try to learn from documentation as CP algorithm is one of the site and some more sites are also there. So
I say that from my experience, you don't need those courses. Look at YouTube. There's a lot of like content available on YouTube for free. Why to waste money on courses if you can learn it for free? YouTube, Code Chef Long Challenge. Like, the title of Code Chef Long Challenge are very good. You can just read title to learn new concept. Code Forces. Code Forces have a lot of blogs. They also have editorials. Ad Coder. Like I would recommend everyone to give Ad Coder beginner contest. It is one of the contest I feel is very good for beginners because the problems are more or less standard, but the things that you don't know. Like I also give it, and even now I find some standard concept that I don't know, so I learn new things on the fly. That's how you should actually do, because the course, if you buy any course, it will be just for few months, and I don't think it's like, sometimes the pace of the course don't match with your own pace, and that's where you will feel the difference, and you might feel that yeah, I'm lagging behind. It's not. You should always work on your pace only. Don't look at what the course or anyone else is doing.
okay, let's go to the next question. So
What?
someone is saying I'm first year now, I'm learning Java and almost at end, but don't know what to do further. Either go for practicing Java or do DSA. So like this
Yeah,
is the thing.
I'm learning Java almost at the end, but don't know to further. Either go practicing Java. What do you mean by practicing Java? Like, what you will do in practicing is just you will write code, right? So just go to anything like Code Forces, Code Chef, try to solve problems, write the code in Java. That way you will actually practice Java, how to, what are the important things, and keep doing, maybe build a project in Java. That's how you can also learn, because just reading will never help. Practice is something definitely you need to do, but don't practice just a language. Language is just a tool. Try to implement it where you can use that thing. That's one of the main things.
Okay, next question is like what is required to grab off campus internships? I think
What is required to grab? I would say one thing: you need luck. Like why I got internship in Amazon, not others, because I applied at the right time. Because I remember, like I asked one of my senior to give me a referral, and he said Amazon doesn't hire in foreign directly. There's no point in applying. I applied. I got a online assessment. I gave. Then I got the interview. It was more or less a luck. because it's not like the interviews for like off campus are different than on campus, or foreign are different from Indian. No, it's just the same. Just apply at the right time. Keep searching on LinkedIn about openings. That's one thing. That's the only thing required. If you miss any opening, yeah, that is where you will fail. Just keep applying. Don't think if you will get a reply, because I can tell you for sure, 99% of the time you won't even get a rejection mail. You will just apply and you will even forget. Even like few days back I got a rejection for something I applied 2 years back. Like, what's the point? I applied for internship, now I'm doing my job. So what's the point of that rejection? Sometimes companies won't even look at your resume. Just keep applying till the day some companies look at it, you get an interview. Just do that. That's the only, there's no difference in off campus or on campus. The only thing is, on campus companies will come to you, off campus you will have to search for them.
Yes,
Rules
like
map.
in on campus you'll definitely get interview if you do well, but in off campus, like luck would be also there for shortlisting
Yeah,
of
yeah,
resume.
definitely. Luck is one of the major thing. You will, if anyone gets any good internship, you like, if you will ask them, like, how did they know about the opportunity? They will say, I was just looking for it. They found it, they applied, and they just got a call. And sometimes it's because others didn't know it was possible. After I got the internship, many people from my college applied at Amazon Berlin only, but probably their hiring was over, so they didn't got a call. It was just my luck that I applied at the right time. If I was late, then I wouldn't get that on. Also, it's just your luck, nothing else.
Okay, next is like, is certificate of land for crack interviews? I think he's trying
No,
to ask like certificate important or concept
no,
is
no,
going.
no, no. Like, I can say for sure, certification doesn't matter, because even if you have a certificate, you will still get like asked questions in your interviews. And how do you respond to those questions matter, not your certification. Even if you have a certification that you are professional in, let's say, Python, but if they ask the question in Python and you are not able to do it, your certification is useless in that case. Don't go for certifications. Try to learn things, try to understand things. That's the main thing. If you have a certificate, then of course it's a good, it will help in your resume, but it's not necessary.
Okay. Next question is like, does branch matters if I want to get into Google?
No, 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 definitely not. Like in any company also, branch doesn't matter. What matters is what is your knowledge, your projects, your, like, let's say, results in your competitive programming contest, hackathons and all. How much do you know? Those things only matter. Your branch doesn't. In few companies there will be restrictions due to branch, but in most of them you can like get an internship or placement even if you are from any random branch. It doesn't need to be like CSC, IT, or even if electronics and all. If you are from, let's say, mechanical also, you can get an internship. You just need to try. Yeah, it will be tougher for someone from mechanical than a CSC, because of the number of opportunities for a CSC person are more, definitely, but you can still do it.
Next question is asking that important thing for first resume, like what point should one take care of while making resume if he's looking for off
One
campus?
one thing, don't make the resume too big. Just keep it to one page and try to write like what is your approach should be. Firstly, write whatever you have in your mind, whatever you know about yourself, write it. Then keep cutting it down till you get into one page, and just remove whatever you feel. Let's say you have done 5 projects, but you know that in one page you can't fit them. So just remove one of them, whichever you think is the least good. Then if you still don't have it, like, let's say, space, remove something else. Keep removing until it's one page, because having a resume more than one page, the issue will be most of recruiters won't even see it, and maybe something important gets, like, you can say, like, hidden because it was a big resume, and they might reject you because of that.
Okay. Like one more thing in this resume question, like sometime if a person is looking for off campus, might put some technologies he's not having good expertise in there. To be like it was mentioned in job description, that's why he put in his
No,
resume.
don't
So
don't do
that
it.
kind of a step is like,
Don't do
how
it.
will
Don't
it?
do it. Don't do it. Like, what I see is that most of, like, job openings you will see, they will write about lot of technologies and all, But in the interviews, they will never ask them. Like most of them are generic interviews. They will ask about DSA, your projects. What do you know? How do you learn new things? Those are the mainly the question they will focus on. So you don't need to write anything. Don't write anything you don't know. If because if it's in your resume, you can get a question on it. And also one thing, let's say someone has done machine learning project and they only know some small subset of the machine learning only. And the interviewer asks you a question which is out of your knowledge. Just say, I don't know this. But I've done is this part only. So I only know about this part. And it's completely fine because no one is expecting you to know everything. You just need to know what do you know, what you don't. If you're saying you know this, you should know this. If you don't, then that will create a bad impression.
Okay, next is that being in the final year, should I focus on learning new technologies or CP? Okay.
I don't think learning new technologies will have definitely do have a good project. At least one or two good projects. If you don't have, then definitely focus on that. But more than that, better to do CP because most of interviews will be around DSA and CP will help in that. If you don't have any project, then yeah, definitely go build a project. And also, it's not always about your project needs to be unique. You can have a project like let's say you did any course on Coursera and there's a project made in the end. So whoever has done that course definitely made the project. Doesn't need to be unique. You just need to know what is your project, what it does, what impact it can make. That's the only thing. No one is looking for unique projects from you.
Okay. Next, I think we took this question: how much are rating online coding platforms such as GFG, CodeShift while applying off campus?
It doesn't matter. Ratings don't matter actually. Like what your knowledge. Most of companies are you can say the resume shortlisting is quite random. Like you can't comment that why some person got shortlisted and you don't. Even if you are like better in all the aspects, you might not get shortlisted because it's random. Sometimes it's just that resume didn't even look at your like any recruiter didn't look at your resume. So even if you are good, you didn't got selected.
Oh, like one thing I forgot to ask, like while doing CP, we write a code something normally, but is code quality matters in interviews, like having
Yeah,
variables and also that
yeah,
was one of
yeah,
the question.
definitely, definitely. Like, like the few aspects that companies look in interviews are what firstly your like solution, mainly how well do you communicate your solution, the time complexity and the memory complexity. It doesn't need to be the best, but you should know what the time complexity, memory complexity it has. After that, how readable is your code. Now the readability is improved by having good variable names, having comments at the right place. Don't include too much comments. Like if you add comment at every line, even if it's unnecessary, then it will also like look bad actually because you should know what comment is necessary, what you don't need to write. And then after that, you should always know test cases, some few test cases, like how a small test case. Don't always need to go for big test case. Just create an array of four size, and you should know how to dry run your code on that. How will your code work on that test case? Just those things. These are the things that works. That's why I said that even if you write a brute force code, but your code looks good, you know the test cases, you know how what is the time complexity and the memory complexity, then you might get selected. But the people, like let's say a person gave the best possible solution, but his explanation was very poor. The interviewer didn't understand what he's trying to say, and he didn't know how the time complexity came. He just know that this is a log n solution, but he can't justify why it's log n. It will create a bad impression. Then that he don't know any test cases. When the interviewer asked to dry run, some that person was not able to dry run, then you will get preferred over that person, even if your code is slower. But you know what your code does.
Okay. Next one is like how to prepare for interviews. Like I think he's trying to ask, suppose he done a lot of questions, like had some experience, but how to explain the code,
How to
the
explain the
concept.
code.
But explaining the code, I think in an interview, as you told, really matters. You're able to explain
One
your
of
code
the one of
properly.
the easier way to do is like try to teach any of your junior. if you are able to explain your junior who don't know that concept what you have done, then you can explain it in your interview also. It's more about how well do you explain. So how to prepare that, just pick any random question, ask any of your friend to listen to a solution. If that friend is able to understand, then the interview will also.
Okay. Okay. I think I know little bit manipulation. What is the best time for an internship after 4 sem or after 6 sem? Also okay.
And most of
And
people are asking which platform should I practice start with. Choose any platform. Like I think like uh, three platform that I've done on are Code Chef, Code Forces, and AdCoder. And I find that all three of them are very good. You can like use anyone. I personally feel that AdCoder beginner contests are good for beginners because of the like the standard problems they use. But still they are like not, you can't search for them. Like they
yes,
present
right.
in a way that the problems are actually standard, but you still can't Google search and find the solution. So you have to think there. So it helps like building your thinking ability. At the same time, teaches you standard problems. So do that.
Like it's a quite famous thing that if you're trying to learn DP, then go for ad coder contest because
Yeah,
there you
there's a AdCoder GP contest. It's a very good contest because it has somewhere around 20 problems, and those are standard 20 problems of DP. If you just go and solve those, you can do one platform that I like. Yeah, what is that? CS Academy. You can go to CS Academy. It has very good problems. You can do that.
okay. Okay. Like and yeah, why confused that should be next step. I think you answer already these questions. Then you say how go in depth. Example binary search concept, then we can learn all its application. Okay, like it's trying to ask like while the concept, like how much depth. Suppose like doing PhD is not, I think, a great idea. If you are
No, no, no.
binary
Yeah.
search, you should know the basic application of binary search. I think that is
Yeah. You just learn the basic concept, then start like do some problems and see what you need to do those problems. Then learn that concept. Simple as that. Whenever you're learning anything new, just start like see at any problem on that topic. Don't go for hard problem. Go the easiest problem you can find on that topic and see what you need to do that problem. Then slowly raise the level of the problem, and you will see what do you need to know. Because any topic, if you see like let's say binary search also, there are like very complex binary search problems which are, you can say, even tourist can't solve in a contest because he is not able to do, because those are tough problems. It's not just that any topic is easy or tough. So doing a tough problem won't help you. Just start from the basics, keep learning as you go.
okay. I think most of the questions are repeating, so like we answer all the questions. So
Yeah, I
like
got few in the DM. Let me look at them. How you started coding? I told already, Jay, because it creates sometimes fear in the mind. Don't just one thing that when you like people have fear for CP, right? Don't look at results. Don't compare yourself with others. It's I know it's tough, but that's the best way to do it. If you will keep comparing yourself to others, you will always see that you are bad, and there's always someone better than you, but there's always someone lower than you. So if you keep looking at only people who are better than you will feel that you are not doing good. But if you keep looking at people below you, you will always feel that you are doing very good. Both of them are wrong in a way. One question I got: everybody says making connection in first year. Do these things matter to how to approach? Making connections, I don't feel like making connections actually matter. What I used to do is, when I, let's say, like, why do you need connections? You need connections for referrals or all, right? So if you are applying any company, let's say for example you saw an opening in D shop and you want to apply to that and you want a referral, just search on LinkedIn D shop, find people who are working there, send them connection request, send 10, 12 people, one of them will accept, then ask them. Simple. You don't need to have connections before. in which year we should be eligible for interview. You are eligible like any year. It just depends on the opening. There are openings for first years also. It doesn't matter. It just what is the criteria of the company. You are eligible always. Like people after getting into job are also applying for interviews, right? So it doesn't matter really if you are doing a job or in your first year or final year. What are some interview questions we should be aware of? This just search. You will find a
I
list
think
of lot of problems. Do you
he's
think
talking about lists like cheat sheets and all which are available on internet.
cheat sheets are like you can say those are good. I'm not saying those are bad, but looking at those only, let's say your interviewer is like he knows about that cheat sheet and he asks a problem outside of that. What will you do it then? It's not like following any cheat sheet will help. I don't think. Just keep solving and keep learning concept. Because even if you find a new problem, you should be able to just think about the problem. That's what matters.
Mm, okay. I think the same questions are coming again and again. So I think we are about good to end the session session, and I would really like to thank Akhil for giving your precious time and to guiding our students and guiding me also. Like I also cleared some of my doubts.
Thank you
So
for having
like
me.
it's always an honor to have people like you and good coders. With this, I'd like to thank Akhil and all the attendees who attended this session. And I would also like to tell you we'll also have one session tomorrow with another a really great coder. Is also have candidate master on CodeChef SD at media.net. So the doubts which are remaining today you can ask tomorrow also, and that would be also having a great session. So like I would like to thank Akhil and all the participants to attend this session. So to wrap up, thank you Akhil
Yeah,
once again.
thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So good to end.